and help the art to showcase. I'm joined us this week. We have another great guest with us today. Everyone, I would like for you to meet Cheryl Redgrave. How are you doing today?
I'm doing terrific. It's Cheri Redgrave.
Sherry.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm sorry about that. Well, we all make a mistake. Uh, Sherry, you let everybody know who you are?
Sure. I am a woman with a lifetime of experiences. I am a classically trained musician and starting a new food business. But the thing we're going to talk about today is my children's book. I've been writing for decades and always self-published, but that's becoming more and more available now. But I was very intrigued about 5 years ago or more when the royals over in England had their weddings. And I just laughed my sides off when I saw the silly, silly hats that the women were wearing. And I thought, where does this British tradition come from? My husband's family are from London, and I just thought it was the most incredible thing and very silly. And I thought, well, maybe I'll write a children's book about all the women and their crazy hats. And so my book is called A Cat for a Hat. It's available out on Amazon as a download, Kindle download. And it basically follows a woman through her getting an invitation to the royal wedding, but she has no hat. And so she goes through the process of using her cat as a hat and how the cat keeps rearranging itself on her head throughout the ceremony in order to be comfortable.
Oh wow, that is very interesting.
So I have
I,
some,
I have noticed over the years, like in royal weddings, they sure do know how to wear some hats, don't they?
well, I was out there. All you have to do is go out to Google and say hats worn at royal weddings, and it'll just. I saw one of a woman that had a children's horse stuffed on top of her head, and so I thought, see, I'm not that far off with my cat for a hat.
So if is that common?
It is for royal weddings. It seems to be the more outrageous, the better. At the I believe it was William and Kate's wedding, one person had a hat that looked like it was made out of butterflies. Somebody else had one that had large ribbons in it. And in fact, we took a picture of that and put it in the book. Let's see if I can get it up there. There we go. So there's a picture of a woman that was an actual hat that was worn at the royal wedding.
Oh
so it's
my
not quite so crazy as you think. But it's
Oh,
just a fun children's picture book. And as one reviewer said, it's a way of looking at a historical event in a humorous style.
oh, that's very impressive. I know that in most royal weddings they wear these fancy hats, but I have no idea that people was actually being creative.
Oh, yes.
So I guess depending on where you go, hats can be either expensive or they can be expensive.
Right. And people have talked to me about having this young woman and her cat influence other people and their cats. We've talked about three sisters and their cats doing something at Mardi Gras. And someone else said, well, why don't you do one at one of these Kentucky Derbies, one of these fancy things where they do bring in some fancy hats. So there may be some sequels in the future of different people wearing different hats, but they'll probably all be cat hats because cats are really fun.
So what is the audience like?
This is a picture book. This is to be read to children, shown the pictures. And, you know, when you read it, you can ask them, you know, have you ever received an invitation from something? Do you have a favorite hat that you like to wear? Have you ever gone hat shopping? There's just all kinds of things, you know, you can ask kids as you read them the book.
Sounds like a pretty good audience. And you said it's only available on Kindle?
Yeah, you can. I'm in the process of doing the Amazon print on demand, so it should be out there in another week or so. We also have it on our website. But I think the best way is to get it off of Amazon. I've just been working on getting a direct to publish version out there. I think they call it print on demand. I'm sorry, print on demand version.
Yes, absolutely. What inspired you to write this book?
Again, it was just the humor. I've loved reading all my life. I've dabbled with young adult fiction, and I thought, well, what about doing a picture book, and how much fun would it be? And I wrote down the ideas for the storyline, and then I free-handed some drawings. I am not an artist. And then I was lucky to find a woman that's a wonderful artist, and she took my pictures and made them so much better and really got the picture across of what it would be like to have a cat on your hat.
Will there be a series of books?
I hope so.
For the title?
Like I'm saying, this is a cat in a hat, a cat for a hat at the royal wedding, but there could definitely be a cat for a hat at the Mardi Gras, a cat for a hat at the Kentucky Derby.
Oh, yes. Those are two places where you'll find a lot of hats. And
Yes.
I think in certain churches you can find
Oh, yes.
people wearing hats.
Yes.
How about for Mother's Day? You're probably gonna see some women wearing hats on Mother's Day.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, any of those events would be good. So I'll show you the cover here. It's a cat for a hat at the royal wedding. And the poor cat is just absolutely terrified.
He wants to be, I can imagine he wants to be.
I'll show one more picture of the first time she puts the cat on her hat. And there we go. Michaela Martin is the person that did the drawings for me. And like I said, she's a wonderful artist. I wish I had her talent.
What do you think?
So, I'm sorry, what do I think?
I don't think the cat looks happy in that picture. What do you think?
No, the cat is never happy because cats are not, right? That's why Grumpy Cat was so popular. I mean, cats are not happy. They're not dogs. You know, you would never do that with a little dog. But yeah, no, the cat puts up with it. But that's why it's so much fun that the cat keeps assuming different positions throughout the wedding. A interactive hat, if you will.
You said that it might be, I think it would do well as a series in different places. I think it would do really well in the series. Doing short
Your connection is breaking up. Can you repeat, please?
artists by no means, children's books, but I can't draw with a lick. So that would be out for me.
Well, that's why you have to team up with a wonderful illustrator.
Right. Are there any other books that you have written? Any other children's books you have written?
I have some in progress. Let's just say that. People can check my author page out on Amazon as things come out.
Oh, okay. And you also, how long have you been writing books?
I've been writing books for a couple decades, but I'm not published, just only self-published. So now with the event of Amazon making that so much simpler, I'm hoping to gather my resources and put more of my materials out there.
Yeah, that has become popular the last, 10, 15 years.
Yes.
So where people can self-publish their book, because I understand that traditionally it's like really difficult to go through a traditional publisher, which is the main reason why a lot of people go the self-publishing route. And I think it's a great idea because every traditional publishers, you basically got to do the work and get your book out. That's just the difference, on that. But a lot of authors who have went through this have been very successful in doing that. Also, understanding or are you planning on it? Has it been officially published?
I'm sorry, you have to repeat the question.
Yeah,
you're breaking up terribly.
The cookbook, has it been officially published?
My cookbook. My cookbook, I have several things going on with the cookbook. You can get the recipes and some of the books on a site called 2 Cooks for Allergies, because I was diagnosed with allergies a few years ago. But I'm going to try to move it from beyond that platform onto Amazon so that more people can have access to it. We also did a cooking competition last year at the Culinary Institute, and we have a 90+ page book that came out of that with bios of all the student chefs and all the recipes, and it was quite good. And the proceeds for that all go back to the culinary school. So we'll get that off of our website and on to Amazon as well.
And in your first book, the children's book that you mentioned, are there any themes that are associated with this book?
It's in many ways, I'm kind of a scatterbrain. I get all kinds of ideas, and then it's what kind of audience would this work best with? And now I'm to the point where the very first book I wrote is now outdated because of cell phones and all the electronics and the web and all that things. And so I need to go back and update that, but that will be out there soon as well. It doesn't take that much to make those things happen, but I don't want people searching for telephones. But I enjoy mystery. I enjoy just young adult in general.
Oh, okay. So reading children's books in schools has become, like really popular these days, and there are like certain days dedicated to that as well. I know there's a National Reading Day. I don't remember what day that is.
No, I don't know that either, but I think every day should be a reading day because I just enjoy books so much. I grew up reading mysteries and just always, and whodunits and, everything from Sherlock Holmes to Agatha Christie and things more modern. But I always thought they were just wonderful.
If there's anything else you would like to talk about out here, I think everything you said was great and to the point.
Just check out on Amazon. Don't check on my author page, and there should be more and more, especially in the next few months coming out. I'm going to be putting an emphasis on getting my materials that are written out there and easy for people to find.
Okay. Yeah, I'm sorry that this gonna have to be like a short interview.
That's fine. It's a short book. My children's book is short. Well, I appreciate the time. I appreciate hearing from you. And I hope some people will get a chance to check out A Cat for a Hat by Cheri Redgrave.
Okay, keep going. Tell us a little bit about your it's also mentioned that you was a musician.
Oh, yes. I'm a percussionist. I play drums and other percussion instruments. I've written books about performing, and at this point, I'm unclear as to whether I'll put those out on Amazon or not, but they're specifically for drummers and percussionists. And I play things like pit orchestras for musicals. I play with orchestras. I play with concert bands, things like that. Not so much rock and roll or things like that. It's more traditional classical music.
Oh, so the classical music genre still exists?
Oh, yes, it's very big.
Was I mean, I really don't hear about it. And there's a lot of radio stations, there are very few radio stations that actually play classical music unless you listen to National Public Radio or something like that. But other
Well,
than
I would say every big city has at least one orchestra, if not more, and has at least one concert band, if not more. I'm in Bend, Oregon, and we're not very large. We're about 100,000, and we have two orchestras and three bands and all kinds of things. There's a lot of people that play music in school and want to continue doing so. And it can be a lifelong love. You've got your marching bands at football games. Those are bands, and they're still out there. You don't get to see them very often on the television because they tend to go away and do interviews during halftime. But we used to get to see the halftime shows.
Uh, and ladies and gentlemen, for those of you who are tuning in or would tune in later, this is uh, this is the author showcase, and Cheri Redgrave is our guest this week. And I'm going to read a little bit of her biography here in my notes. Cheri began her life as a musician, branching out to become a composer and arranger. I, that is a unique skill. A lot of people cannot do that. That is a skill beyond the ages. Uh, so I'm assuming that you had formal training as a composer, arranger, and you
Yes.
studied music.
Yes.
And get this, she also have several other disciplines, including screenplays, a workbook for those who are grieving the loss of a loved one. Um, I'm sure that's going to help a lot of people because there's been so much that's going on, especially in the realm of mass shootings.
Yes. That's the book I'm working on putting out on Amazon right now.
Oh, okay. I know that one would do well. And after watching the royal wedding of Prince William and Kate, she thought the fashionable hats were extremely amusing. What if you received an invitation and had no hat? Our young woman creatively solved the problem by using her cat for a hat. This idea could only be realized as a picture book. Her life was turned upside down when she was diagnosed with food allergies to eggs and peas. She is currently reimagining all of her favorite recipes and creating food blogs and ebooks. So you got a food blog, that's out. I started actually I was starting, looking for foods that are more gluten-free myself.
Yes. That's become the easy part now. There are many, many things that you can find that are gluten-free.
Okay.
It's harder when you have a combination of allergies and you have to make it work.
Yeah, would you say there's a lot of foods out there that can combat that?
Well, people have to learn to read labels. And, if you have a child that has a wheat allergy or a gluten allergy, it's not just what they eat. A lot of people don't know that Play-Doh is made from wheat. And if your child is very, very sensitive, just handling the Play-Doh can cause a reaction in them. And so
Oh, wow.
you really need to read labels and know what you're putting in your body. It's not just people that are into, natural foods or that they're vegan. It's just, you need to know. You need to know what you're eating and what you're putting in.
Oh, wow. I didn't know Play-Doh was made out of wheat. That's something interesting. So is your cookbook is a reflection of that, what you've been through to kind of help others?
Yes, because the whole idea behind it is that a lot of people think they have to cook two meals, one for them and one for their family. And what I'm trying to show is that you can make delicious meals that the whole family will enjoy. But you have to do your research. You have to look up how to do it. But people come and eat. We entertain here all the time. And no one says, oh, that was a good gluten-free meal or that was a good dairy-free meal. They just say that was a delicious meal. And that's what I'm promoting.
Oh, that's fantastic. Well, we're going to close out here, and unless you have some other things that you'd like to say, otherwise we're going to get ready to close out here.
Okay, well, my food blog is two cooks, the number two cooks for allergies, and that's the number four. And there's just a lot of things out there for people that have allergies.
And how will people be able to find you? They want to get in touch with you or they want to purchase your books. How do they be able to find you?
There are many ways. The easiest way is either through the twocooks4allergies.com, or there is a site. We have a new dairy-free milk alternative made from Oregon hazelnuts, and we call it Cheri's Hazel Cream. And the spelling of Cheri is Cheri. So cherishazelcream.com, and they can send me a note there. I'd be happy to talk to them about their allergies, or if they're having trouble finding any of my books, I'd be happy to talk to them about that.
All right. And it is a tradition here that in all of our podcasts that we give our guests the last words to say to the audience. So what would you like to say to the audience in the last word?
Well, the last word would just be, don't let anything that happens in your life stop your dreams. You might have to pivot and go in a different direction, but that doesn't mean you won't still find your way to your goal. Keep going, keep trying.
And that is certainly words of encouragement to live by. Cheri, I want to thank you for being on the show. I hope that it was, interesting and informative under the circumstances here. We try to accommodate our guests as much as we can, but sometimes it does not go the way that we plan. But we hope for the audience's sake that it's enough information to where they can get an idea of who you are and highlight that book. Now, speaking of that, you probably heard that the cat in the hat. I'm sure everybody heard.
Cat for a hat. Cat for a hat.
But what about cat for a hat?
Yeah, that's my. It's not to be consumed. Not to be confused with the Dr. Seuss book. But this is a cat for a hat. Think about the royal wedding and wearing a hat. So
any chance that you have a copy? Can you show them the front of the book so they can see what it's like?
There you go.
All right. Wonderful. We just want to throw that disclaimer, here. That's why I'm going the direction that you have. So there you go. A Cat in the Hat, available on Amazon. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Everything.
Well, thank you.
Please.
Thank you for having me.
Please go out and purchase the book for your child. It will make a great gift. Perhaps you have a child that is getting ready to, graduate maybe kindergarten, then they go into the first grade or something like that. That would make a great gift, for them, to learn something new. Definitely, you encourage you to do that. And that would do it here for the Author Showcase. I'm Keith Williams, your host. Thank you so much. Please be sure to tune in next week where we'll have another exciting guest. Until then, make your week an enjoyable one.